All right, welcome to the episode of Real Estate First Technology. I'm your host, Norman Kinsey. We have our co-host, Mr. Dan Gandy. Welcome, Dan.
Thanks for having me.
As always. So before we intro who our guest is today, just want to go ahead and encourage everyone to like the episode, subscribe, notification bell. Hey, if you leave a comment, if you're just listening, and also if you're watching on YouTube, you leave a comment on what you learned. That's our intention. So where are we going? Who do we have? So today we're going to Ontario. We're going to go up to Canada, which is an international episode. And actually this episode came from another episode. So we had Kate on the show, and Kate was like, hey, I have a guest, and talk to Jess. And today we have
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I was actually checking you out a little bit. I see that you were formerly a paralegal. Also, you're a mom of two. And so now you're in real estate. And I think off the show, we're talking about this a little bit about 2 years now, you were saying?
So this is my third year.
Oh, third year. Okay. So let's get into that. Let's talk about so 3 years in the business, from paralegal to getting into real estate, like why?
Okay. So I guess my why is I don't think it's the most traditional path. Real estate, I feel like there's a lot of people that kind of dabble in it and people that just feel like that was the career that was meant for them.
Yeah.
For me, being in law, it was extremely exhausting. Not that real estate's not. Real estate's a lot to do.
Yeah.
But I found that as much as I loved it and I was passionate about it, it just wasn't fulfilling me. And I felt like there was something missing. So when I ended up moving from Hamilton, Ontario to Brantford, I met Kate Broddick. And she was my realtor at the time. We just got really close when I moved out here. And then when I started to kind of question whether or not I still wanted to remain in the legal field, she just kind of said, well, have you ever thought about real estate? And I'm actually looking for an admin. And if you wanted to kind of do a little test drive to see what it looks like why job. So that's kind of how I got started.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I've seen your content, and you two look like literally BFFs. So you're like just having some fun, some videos, doing some different things. I was checking you all out. I saw how like you did some remixes on the reels and whatnot. So I could see the energy and like the vibe there, which is super cool. It's almost like a Batman Robin or something. I don't know. So 3 years now. Tell us a little bit about like, how's the process been like? Do you like being on a team? Has it been helpful? So I can imagine admin, then you got licensed, and then now you're transacting.
Yeah. So being an admin, I think, gave me the most experience that I could ever need. I feel like real estate courses, I don't know what it's like in the States, but in Canada, our courses.
Horrible.
It's awful.
It's not horrible, no.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's changed a little bit for us. They have changed where it's a little bit more interactive now. But when I did it, it was read on your own, figure it out, go write the exams. I just don't feel like you're just kind of trying to cram as much information into your brain as you possibly can before you're doing that. And then I felt the second I walked out, the information left, and you've had. So I feel like having that hands-on experience in a real estate office, in a very busy one. Kate's very successful and she's been the #1 agent, I think, since 2015.
That's amazing.
So, having being the deals administrator, so I knew how to write offers, I knew how to properly construct conditions, I knew timelines, and I think that information is what has created just such a secure foundation for myself and being the agent that I am. I'm better for it. I think if any agent's looking to get in the business, shadow an agent. Try to get a position if you can in some type of deals administration on the back end of things, and you will learn a ton of information, way more than.
I love that.
On that note, I was going to say that I've, over the years, and this is not I don't want to make a generalization across the industry, because there's a lot of great agents that didn't start in any other type of capacity.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
But I will say this, the best agents that I've worked with through transactions and just having seamless transactions, being on the same page, great paperwork, not reminding, not babysitting. They seem to have worked in a brokerage before
Yeah.
and have basically gone through the trenches, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot to say about your experiences, that
Yeah.
you knew you knew you were going into a new profession with the experience of what a lot of people don't get the opportunity to do.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, as well, I did have a legal background, which did help. I mean, these are contracts. That's what we're working home. So that definitely helped give me knowledge on just on how those types of things works, time sensitivities, contingencies, those types of things we have to deal with as agents. But yeah, I mean, working for Kate and having that foundation of knowing exactly what, I just feel like I talk to some new agents and I'm like, oh man, you just need a little bit of mentorship, right? Like, yes. I feel like it's not even so much getting in there before, but if you have a mentor, an agent beside you, it's that information is everything.
I love it. And to add to that, I've also seen two individuals that come out of like, your industry or your field prior, corporate industries that have the structure. They understand standard operating procedures, key performance indicators, looking at like income producing activities, and not being like a chicken with your head cut off and you're bouncing all over the walls and you're like, I don't know, I'm trying to figure it out, but I don't want to be on team because I don't want to be told to do. Like, just get told to do so you get the foundation, then go on your own. Like, come on. Like, I don't know.
Tell me what to do, because it's overwhelming. It's a lot, because not only are you entering into a new career and having to some degree minimal education.
Yeah.
You need that. It's so important. It's not being told what to do. It's being taught. Right.
Yeah. I love it.
On that note, real quick, in Canada, do they teach you how to write an offer in school?
Okay. On the program I took. So that's what I'm saying, that the information, and I mean, I wrote hundreds of offers before and helped Kate write them before I was even licensed.
Wow.
So important.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, the National Association of Realtors, any International Association of Realtors, any trade groups, listen up, because there's so many agents that get out and they don't know how to write an offer. They don't know how to go through a listing agreement, and it puts more pressure on the brokerage and having to provide training programs and mentors. Yes. And it really doesn't set you up for success. So I think there needs to be a drastic shift in the application of what they teach.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think that a lot of agents, I mean, it's scary. You're starting your own business as well. Like there's so many moving parts to this. You're marketing yourself. You're writing offers. You're trying to take money. There's a lot to consider, and I don't think everyone's prepared. And I think and to be honest, there's a high failure rate in this industry. And
they say 90% of the business transactions done by the top 10% of real estate professionals. And you would think that the powers that be, and this is internationally, right? I mean, you're in Canada, we're in the States, and you would think they would be like, hey, here you go. This is what you need to do. Like, it's all the legal jargon that like you don't really use, like, and not to go off topic here, just like school. And then you're like, okay, let me go learn from someone else that's learned the hard way. It's hard knocks. And then, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and copy what they're doing. So that's what we love here about Real Estate First Tech for our viewers and listeners out there, is we like to go deeper in like, how you got started, how things work for you. So if a new agent's watching this, they could be like, oh my God, okay, I need to join a team. Oh my God. Okay. Yes, I can relate to this. I'm not getting what I needed from, going through the test and the standard process. So good call on that, Dan. I absolutely love that. So Jess, I got a couple more questions before we do go in the mix-up round, and we'll get more into the tech side of things with Dan. Have you gravitated more towards, the buy side, the sell side? Are you just giving leads? Are you starting to bring in your own leads? So when someone's new joining a team, it's going to be different, of course, but they can get some type of context.
So I do both. So
nice.
I'm not strictly a buyer agent or seller agent. I do both. On our team specifically, we believe that one agent should handle the entire transaction because you have such a rapport.
Kate said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think it is important, right? And I mean, I get it doesn't work for all teams, and they do have their, protocol on that, and that's fine. But for us, we do like to carry the transaction through from beginning to end. So I do both.
Love it. I love it. That's awesome. Yeah. And then as far as like mustering up business, bringing in business, does a team help with like, hey, because I know some teams say, hey, here's some leads, depending on the split that could vary, but here's leads for you, or like, hey, here's some calls, make some calls. Hey, go out and door knock, or go out and get on social, or go out and find your own business, talk to your sphere? How did that look like for you joining Kate's team?
So we do get some leads, obviously, that come in through the team that, are kind of on like a round robin where
Nice.
it's around the team members. But we are encouraged, obviously, as well, to get our own leads and build our own relationships. So open houses are a huge one for gathering leads for me now that they're back open here in Ontario.
Yes.
It's been like there, but ours have been closed for some time. Yeah. Did my first one 2 weeks ago, and I was so happy to be back, like just interacting with people one-on-one and making those warm contacts. So that's a huge one. So we're always encouraged to kind of get our own leads. Like we do flyers, door knocking here and there, not too much.
Yeah.
It's just, and social media is huge for us. We really try to push our social media and connect with people online.
I see that. So since you got started to now, last question, kind of leading into the tech side of things for the mix-up round. So what have you adapted to the most as far as like, is it video? Is it Instagram? Is it social, to like start to generate more leads and build that know, like, and trust?
Yeah. So a little bit of background on me, just on the tech side. I actually didn't even have a Facebook account prior to joining Kate's team.
Okay.
I stayed away from it.
What's Facebook now?
Yeah, well, at that time, that was the main,
Yeah.
people use. Instagram was just kind of popping up, but I don't have any social media. So getting into that was very different for me, putting myself out there and getting used to those types of things. In terms of gathering leads, I think you kind of attract people that are like-minded. You kind of attract your client base.
Yeah.
So we try to put, we do a lot of reels and stuff, which again was a bit of a transition and getting comfortable with them. But we do try to put those out. So it's just staying consistent, making sure you're posting, putting out the reels. And then of course, if I do have houses or even some of my personal posts, I'll boost them on Instagram, Facebook to get them out to a wider audience.
I love that. And I think that that's so true. I think more of a universal language when you say things like attract, it's so indicative. It's so important because vision boards, writing down what you want to do. Like I'm going to be updating my vision board over here. It's so important. I know Kate talks about that, her morning and the way that she practices gratitude and so on and so forth. And I think that it's so true. You can just attract people to your business. And yeah, of course you could pay for it and do different things to make calls to outreach people physically. But I think that spiritually can also just come if you put it out there and you're willing to receive. On another note, going back to the show, Dan, and take it on the mix-up round, go more into the technology side of things.
So I want to touch on a point you just brought up, which was boosting posts and understanding a little bit more about what you're seeing as success with paying for advertising, not looking for direct lead generation, but looking for more engagement, followers, and just overall brand equity in the local market. How's that working out for you?
Pretty good. Again, I'm pretty new to, as I said, like just the social media world. So I'm still getting used to a lot of things. Again, consistency, I feel, has been the most key. I try to post at least 3 times a week and throw a reel in there. I do feel like reels are what's getting me the most followers, the most interaction. It's been working pretty good. I'm building my following for sure. So it is working. And Kate's built a massive following off of that alone. So.
She has a very impressive profile.
Yeah.
On that note, like in technology, is there any tools that you're specifically using that could help other agents kind of accelerate, be more organized, and just run a better real estate business?
Program wise, I don't know what's really available out there and what you guys kind of use in terms of, say, like contact manager, right? And contact management. Like, I'm assuming you guys have some type of program that you use for that.
Yep.
We are with a brand called Revel Realty out here. They're an indie brokerage. We just joined back in, I want to say October of last year, but I might be wrong. So no quote on that, but they have a program that we've been using that's called Planet Orange. And basically it almost creates a relationship with your client for you. So it's sending them messages, text messages, emails, and it can interact kind of on a
AI
level. Yeah, an AI type technology with your clients, which has been kind of cool to kind of see, like, all of a sudden you're having these conversations with people. Yeah, but I mean, it gets engagement, right? It does. And it's able to set them up even to receive the listings that they're looking for with their criteria. It can kind of read what they're clicking on and formulate on what they're looking for and then send it to them. So it can definitely be helpful when you have a big Rolodex of clients that maybe you can't touch constantly, or maybe you're just afraid people are going to fall through the cracks. Which can happen. You have some kind of a backup. I mean, nothing beats personal contact, but there's a backup to help you kind of fill in those gaps and nudge people that maybe you're not nudging as much as you should be.
You brought up a great topic, because I think time is such a valuable resource for a real estate agent, because they're so sorted and diverted in any direction based on transactions, clients, marketing, accounting, yada yada yada. But the point I was getting at is that when AI really started to kick into action, one major benefit that I had saw that you just touched base on is that instead of the initial phone contact going out and me having to sort a bunch of garbage leads that were people that like just signed up and then like put in a bad email address, AI would be like reaching out, and then they would text them like 3 or 4 times. And if I knew they weren't responding, like they're not motivated, they're not looking for anything. And so it saves us so much time as a real estate broker to implement those things. So
for sure. It is a time saver. And I mean, time is money, right? And you have to kind of take a look at and do like a cost benefit analysis of your time and what's working and what's not. If you're taking all your time and having to reach out to every single lead and dead leads that aren't going anywhere, it's nice to have a backup system. Then you can focus on your people that are going to be moving forward and doing transactions.
Totally. Last question for me is, if you hadn't worked with Kate and you were a brand new agent and they just basically today was your very first day in real estate, what technology would you say is the number one tool that you would use to get started?
The number one technology I would use to get started, and it has to be tech-based. I think social media. I'm going to go with social media, getting yourself out there, especially right now. And I think this is kind of post-pandemic, me talking as well. This is the way people are connecting now more than ever. And so I think building a good social media presence, working on your brand, I think that's what's going to create the best relationships with people. And again, attracting those clientele to you that are going to want to work with you.
Great advice. Back to Norm. Thank you.
Awesome, Dan, for taking over the mix-up round. A couple things to unpack there. I love the fact that the CRM system is very important for any viewers and listeners out there. The AI is nice, and I think that the cool thing about it, from my standpoint, is like you really don't want to spend time with people that really don't want to like do anything. It's kind of like sucks your energy out of you instead of working with someone that's actually willing to receive that energy and is willing to talk. And even if they're not ready today, they're really ready in 6 or 12 or 24 months. At least there's that positive reinforcement that like, yes, maybe not today, but hey, stay in touch with me. And you're like, all right, cool, momentum, let's go. Instead of the person's like, F you, why are you doing this? Don't reach out to me. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. And then that messes you up too, momentum wise. You're like, oh my God. Okay. All right, shrug it off, move forward. So viewers and listeners out there, AI, check it out. I think here in the States, we have AI wise, it's YLopo. YLopo is an AI based company that does a lot with the same thing that you're referring to. So love it. So a couple last questions before we open up the floor to you to leave anything for the viewers and listeners. So when it comes to social and you're building that know, like, and trust factor, like, is there an approach as far as like, are you trying to like give value from a perspective of like entertainment, perspective of like area specific, like things to do where the area that you serve is, or ideal buyer or seller type content? Like, what's the thought process? What's that kind of like goal behind the content?
I think for me, I try to do a mixture of information thrown with a little bit of entertainment.
Okay.
I think that's what kind of gets me the best response. The reels when they're a little bit catchy or funny, but then in the content, I'll write something that's useful. It's not just me being a goofball.
Yeah.
So that's where I feel like I do get the best response. And I think I'm still establishing, to be honest, on what that's going to look like. I'm still so new into this, and it's probably going to change, right? In the next few years, I mean, who knows where I am and how I feel about the branding and what I'm putting out there. But as of right now, I feel like I'm trying to provide something that's hopefully entertaining, maybe a little funny to people, and then providing them with some information they can really use in the market.
I love that for sure. I know we had a guest on yesterday. I was talking about kind of like your social media can kind of be like your museum. And then you go into the museum and you're looking at this art piece, or you're looking at this, looking at that. So as soon as they get that entertaining, like it hits the algorithm, they see your video and like, all right, let's go to your profile. They'll see some other videos. And then hopefully they go deeper and be like, all right, let me read the context, and then be able to get the information and be like, oh, well, if I want to buy a house or sell a house, okay, maybe might want to use Jess. So I love that.
Yeah.
That's super cool. That's awesome.
That's the goal.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So as far as like your secret weapon, this be like the last question, as far as like your secret weapon when it comes to like a formal listing presentation. So joining a team, I'm sure they educate you on, okay, this is what you're going to do in a formal listing presentation. This is what to be expected. Like, what's your approach? Do you have a secret weapon? What sets you apart? So if anyone's listening, they can maybe take a nugget from it and use it for their own successes with their formal listing presentation.
Sure. I mean, as a team, we definitely, I think, run cohesively in terms of the content that we provide, the listing packages we leave. But I think in terms of like the presentation itself, I think just be yourself.
I love it.
To be honest, like I feel like you come off the most authentic. I mean, reading from scripts and things like that. I mean, it does work for some, and some do use, sales pitch scripts, and it works well for them. For me personally, it just never has. I feel like I always do the best when I just walk in. I'm like, here I am.
Yes.
And try to make, trying to create commonalities with people, especially when you're in your home. I think looking for things to make those connections with is important. So I'll look around and I'll, even if it's something silly, I'm like, oh, hey, I see a picture. You went to Florida. I love Florida. I go all the time. How often do you go? Just making those, like being cognizant of your surroundings, and then, trying to connect with people. And again, just trying to be as your most authentic self, I think is the best way to go.
I love that. I love that. I feel like some people use like, okay, I need a script, or okay, I'm going to go through this, and okay, page 1's this, page 2 this, page 3's that. And it's almost like a crutch. So if anyone's out there listening and like you're thinking you need to have a script and that's going to help you and all the things, I think that it's actually a deterrent to just be your true authentic self. And it's so true. Some of the best conversations I've had was a conversation, or should I say strategy meetings, if we're talking
what
about
if the meeting goes off script and then you're like trying to find a way to answer that, right? So it's just being yourself, I think, is, and people can smell it.
Yes.
People can smell when you're pitching and when you're just being you, and that's just the truth.
I was just gonna say that Ricky Carruth was telling me one time that like he's like, nowadays I just walk into a listing and I just have the listing agreement and my business card. Is like, it's all about just making a personal connection. And if you can't establish the personal connection, you'll never work with them on a business end. And he's like, that's the number one thing. He's like, people come in, he's like, I'll see books there, I'll see flashy electronic like presentations. He's like, yeah, that's cool, but it's about the
a personal connection. We're human beings at the end of the day. Can't energy doesn't lie.
I think that the technology side of things is already with the iHome buyers. And when you're talking not so much Zillow right now, but iHome Finder, or not iHome Finder, what is it? Open Doors, a bunch of different ones here in the States. I'm not sure about in Canada, but it's already not personal. And it's already just kind of like, here's the analytics. This is what we could do. Rate of return, average days on market, yada, 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 all the jargon. And then when a human being comes in, people buy for something they like and trust. You can't replace that. And that's right. Yeah.
You need to have trust in your agent, and you need to establish a relationship in order to have trust. So
yes, exactly. And for the viewers and listeners out there, Jess is on the show because we established trust with Kate, and Kate was like, you got to be on because of X, Y, and Z, because we're just showing up true and authentic, and there wasn't any agenda. And I think that's when people set up agendas for themselves, they don't have the success, because they're like, oh, well, this is my agenda and I want to, make this money. And it's not about the money. It's about the connections. It's about just living life to the fullest, have fun doing what you're doing, and attracting those right clients, and it'll come together.
Success will follow if you do that.
Yes.
Success will always follow.
Yeah. Just keep it simple. Well, we're going to change it up for the last part of the show. Camera's on you. What do you want to take, or have our viewers and listeners take from you ending today's show?
So I think for new agents, again, I know we kind of touched on this at the beginning, but I think trying to find information before getting into the business is super important. It's imperative. Trying to shadow an agent if you can. As I said, trying to get a job in a brokerage if you can. Just trying to create that foundation work. So anyone looking to get into the business, that would be, I think, my key advice. In terms of joining a team, I mean, it's not for everybody. You definitely have to be a team player to be on a team and realize it's not just about you, it's about the collective whole and working towards a goal. But I do think a team adds a ton of value, especially for the real estate industry, because it can be kind of lonely. It can be kind of a lonely industry, and having that team behind you, and we have people who are brand new in the business up to people who've been doing this for a decade or more. And so the experience as well, and having insight. And I know at any moment, if I have a problem, I can pick up the phone and call somebody and be like, hey, have you ever had this situation, or what's your advice on this or take on that? And so I think having that tribe and having your people is very important as well. And it doesn't need to be on a team, but even from a brokerage level, I guess you can find that community as well.
Wow. I love that. I love that. For any new agents out there, you heard it first. Follow Jess. All the links are down below. Thanks so much for being on today's show. We really do appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And Dan, thanks as always for co-hosting.
Another great one. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. One for the history books. And now you can comment below, viewers and listeners out there, with what you learned. If you're on YouTube, we'll love to get your feedback. And definitely, I think Jess would love that as well. So thank you all so much for tuning in today's episode, as it is our intention for you to apply things to your business to have more massive success that you've learned from here in our episodes. So we will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching Real Estate vs. Technology, this week's brand new episode, and making it to the end, your real one. If you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified for new episodes that come out every single week on Fridays at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. Also, if you comment on this episode and you like the episode, you'll help this episode get out to more individuals. And if you want to join our Facebook group page, just click a link. It's a Facebook icon on our profile page here on our YouTube channel. Join our group page, network with individuals all across the world, and share what technology you're using to grow your business. The next link is to join our Real Estate vs. Technology brand new IG or Instagram page. If you go on any of our stories, you can see who's going to be on Real Estate vs. Technology before it actually goes live on our YouTube channel. And the last link would be if you want to be on an episode of Real Estate vs. Technology. You pick a date and a time. We'll deep dive into your story and technology you're using to share that with other individuals that view our episodes weekly, to inspire, enlighten, show up, and show out for people that love to watch these type of podcasts to have more success in their own business. Thank you so much for your continued support. We appreciate it. We will see you on the next one.